Do you think Ghana is going to win the World Cup?
No, it's not going to happen.
Why not?
I mean, it's nice for motivational vibes to say, oh, we'll win the World Cup and you must believe in everything. You don't have the resources, you don't have the technology, you don't have the attention to detail. It's not going to happen. What you can do is you can show up at the World Cup and be decent. But Ghana will not win the World Cup. It won't happen. Look, nothing makes you feel like you come from the third world than when you arrive at international competitions and you see the gadgets that other journalists use. Here, the system sometimes curtails your ambitions. We are talking about people going to the World Cup in the USA.
Yep.
You know, you have to deal with the complexities of where you come from. Would your passport allow you access into the country?
Yep.
Even if your content is consumed at a certain pace, you don't come from a USA, you don't come from UK, you are not Swedish. So even if 1 million people watch your content, you're still getting paid considerably less than a guy who registered their channel in America.
Welcome to the SuperHuman Mindset Podcast.
If you don't have belief in what you're doing, it'll be very, very hard for you to get others to believe and follow on.
What do you want people to remember about you?
And you know, there's a small, still voice within you. Yeah.
Think deeper, live higher. All right. It is the FIFA World Cup 2026. And guess what? It is Ghana versus everybody. I get to sit with Michael Oti Adjei, one of the best sports journalists and media moguls in Ghana. He's been following the World Cup all the way from 2006 up until now. This guy's been to every single game. And guess what? We get to talk about the state of African football and Africa's readiness at a World Cup like this. If you want to understand the breakdown of how we are going to do at this World Cup, I want you to listen and stay all the way to the end. I will see you on the other side. Don't forget to like, hit share, and subscribe. Welcome to the Superhuman Mindset Podcast. Thank you for coming on the Superhuman Mindset Podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Wow. It's been a long time coming.
I know. They took a meeting in the gym.
Right. I want to jump straight into the conversation and ask, we're in 2026. Everyone is turning into a journalist.
Yeah.
Everyone believes the moment they have a mic, they have a camera, they do everything. How has that shaped who you've been in your career?
Well, I think the first point to make is that that's why we are journalists. You know, I went to journalism school out of Pope John in 97.
Pojoba?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I had studied science.
Really?
I was a pure science student, physics, chemistry, biology. I wasn't great in it. I knew pretty much from maybe second year that I would go to journalism school. I didn't need any extraordinary qualification to do that. I wanted to be a journalist and wanted to be one badly. And journalism school was great, but I discovered very early in my first few years of work, especially at Joy, when the practice of first degree holders coming into the newsroom, that the profession was not beholden to the guy who spent 2 years or 4 years studying how to write, studying the standard practice of 5 W's and H, which we always taught in journalism school, or the inverted pyramid of news writing, or disguising your lead and telling your feature story in an eloquent, elegant manner that keeps people in suspense, and then you break it down there. I discovered very early that our profession had two things that made it unique. The first one was that our profession was a product of our basic rights as humans to a freedom of expression. Every human being has a right to tell a story. Every human being has a right to an opinion. Basically, our profession is built on the foundation that freedom of expression and freedom of speech is fundamental to every human being. So you couldn't really hold to account who is a journalist and who is not. You could hold media houses, you could hold structured organizations and the rest to account about whether they prepare the people they give mandates to speak on behalf of them, to write articles on behalf of them, to do analysis on behalf of them. And there is, you could ask the relevant questions of them about whether they've provided the necessary training, the necessary understanding of ethics, whether they've prepared people enough to understand the responsibilities they are given. But nobody goes into journalism with any special skill or talent. There's a whole debate to have about whether that's good or that's bad, because everything is proportion. But I understand that fundamentally journalism is something that everybody is entitled to do. What that has done to journalism traditionally has been that at some point it sort of lowered the entry bars, made it a lot more easier for people to get into. And as we've developed as and grown as journalists, we've discovered that it also meant that the financial benefits from practicing the profession has not always been at the level required to keep the best talent in the business. So that's a problem. But 2026 and everybody becoming a journalist is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yes, it's very good, because it sort of just really democratizes the system. It's also highlights the fact that people follow people, people don't follow organizations. We're speaking of the back of a 21-year-old American coming to Accra and literally shutting the entire city down in ISO speed. A 21-year-old who used gaming, who used his affection for Cristiano Ronaldo, who used football, who's gone on a 20-country African tour and has won in a national team football jersey of everyone. A 21-year-old who understands branding, who understands storytelling, who understands connecting with people more than anybody else. So this profession has changed, and it's changed for good. And I like that. I like that the art of storytelling has not become the preserve of individuals who study journalism, who work in structured organizations and the rest. Because basically freedom of expression is fundamental to every one of us, and it's for good reason that we are in the space that we are in.
Wow. So doesn't that feel like, it's been democratized? I get that. But doesn't that feel like now everybody can just call themselves that they can even try to equate themselves to you?
No, there's no problem with that, to be honest with you. The bottom line is that if you picked up a mic when Pass is playing Kotoko, and you went to the stadium and you engage with 3, 4, 5 fans, and you got more views on YouTube, you got more views on TikTok, you got more views on Facebook, and after a year of doing that, brands came to you more. All it means is that you're doing something way better than, say, myself, or say a traditional newspaper that hasn't discovered the beauty and the power of social media, that has been unable to understand that the world is moving and changing, that has become a relic and can understand that video content is the consumption by which things move. If you were a journalist who went to journalism school like myself in the early 2000s, and in the late 90s into the early 2000s, and didn't see that the internet around the time we left journalism school was going to change our practice, and didn't prepare for it, you are the one who will feel hard done by the changes in the system. But if you understood that, especially in the early 2000s, that websites were the way to go, that as we developed into the early mid-2000s and the rest, that especially into the late 2010s, at the time of the World Cup, when Twitter really defined World Cup coverage in 2010 and then took it to new heights in 2014, or the 2022 World Cup, where TikTok really shaped everything about the competition. Any good journalists worth their salt, and journalists by extension are communication people worth their salt, should be able to track these developments on a step-by-step basis. I was in a webinar this afternoon organized by Oxford University, where they spoke about AI trends to look out for in 2026. And if you're an industry player, your understanding of your space and your ability to adapt is as important as the things that you do on a daily basis. So For me, it's not a problem at all. I will walk into a stadium with 20 other creators, and I'm happy for there to be 20 other creators. Do I want to offer value beyond those 20 others? I want to offer value. Maybe the experience will count for something. Maybe the years of taking my time to develop a 1,005 word article will come for something. Maybe the assets that I have developed to players and my understanding of how to negotiate that will be a better advantage. But the whole space is better off with different people telling multiple stories, with some of the people who just hold a microphone and engage with fans on the street. I may walk into a room full of footballers and be able to get a great story, but that story is no more important than the guy who decides that his crowd is sitting outside the stadium and answering questions about between Abedi Pele and Stephen Appiah, who is the greatest Ghanaian footballer. It's content, it's product by which companies move their products and theirs. And as far as I'm concerned, there is space for all of that.
Wow. Wow. That's a whole different mindset. Do you think we have a talent problem in Ghana or a systems problem?
I think we have a systems problem. I don't think we have a talent problem. I think people are really talented in their own fields.
Yeah.
People do different things. And I've seen it over and over again. I always say I have maybe one of the best circles. I have friends who started businesses out of school and the businesses are thriving. I have friends who had marketing teams and they're doing a brilliant job. I've in my 20 plus years of sports journalism, I've dealt with different people whose level is on a different scale. One of the things that traveling around the world to cover sporting events and the rest, we used to have a running joke among us Ghanaian sports journalists and the rest about how you will show up at a competition. So you will show up at like I did in that 2003 World Athletics Championships, and the lenses you saw blew your mind. Well, the first day I went for training at the BBC, and the training floor had more studios than many radio stations I had seen in Ghana.
Just the training floor.
Yeah. Or that tape for recording the sessions where multiple packs. When I walked into a radio station in Ghana, and if I got one, I will use that to record things over and over again for 1 year. Now that's a systems problem. It's a system problem that doesn't allow me to make mistakes. It doesn't allow me to record my stuff well. It doesn't allow me to keep stuff. But even then, I spoke about how the problem is not that there are a lot of people coming into this line of work. The problem is, are there structures to ensure that people are ethical? Are there part of those structures is, are they being trained properly and the rest? And I say we have a systems problem because in other countries, some organizations will hire journalists and put them through training that they will over a 2 week to 1 month period that could be equivalent to multiple years of training in journalism school. So it's as simple as that. Your guys have set up these beautiful cameras and the rest. In another system, you could have 1, 2, 3 cameras controlled, properly remote controlled, so your human resource cost goes down. Rather than keeps up at a certain pace. There's so many things that we are not capable of doing. Even on this continent ourselves. Say you're a Ghanaian journalist who wanted to cover the Nations Cup in Morocco. Your travel cost is likely to be 2 times what somebody who was flying to London to Morocco would spend. Or if, say, there's a young European journalist who wanted to cover the Euros, travel from London to Italy, for instance, to cover the Euros, that would be considerably less. Here, the system sometimes curtails your ambitions. We are talking about people going to the World Cup in the USA.
Yep.
You have to deal with the complexities of where you come from. Would your passport allow you access into the country?
Yep.
When you gain access into the country, do you come from a system where the internet works fast enough for your content to be consumed at a certain pace? Even if your content is consumed at a certain pace, you don't come from a USA, you don't come from UK, you are not Swedish. So even if 1 million people watch your content, you're still getting paid considerably less than a guy who registered their channel in America. So we have a systems problem. But that systems problem has never stopped anybody who comes from this continent, who comes from Ghana and the rest, or from stepping up and taking their own rightful place. We are wired to work around problems, and you can grade problems. The problems that we deal with are not the worst ones. We've got electricity, we've got internet. This country is blessed with many talented people, but it can be way, way better for younger people. It can be 2 million times better for younger people. And at the moment it's not. We can only hope that it improves.
World Cup 2026 is coming up. I hope I'm seeing you in America.
Hopefully.
What does that mean, hopefully?
Because you're not in complete control of whether you travel or not. You could go to the embassy and they say, you're not going.
But it's a World Cup.
I know, but so long as their visa processes, it's never completely
up to you. So if you could fix any of these processes that we mentioned, which one would you fix?
For me, it's equipment.
Equipment?
Yes, it's equipment. Look, nothing makes you feel like you come from the third world than when you arrive at international competitions and you see the gadgets that other journalists use.
Wow.
You know, the laptops, the cameras, the speed to capture things, the internet speed. It's, so if for me, that would have been that. But also the ease of travel.
I saw, before we get into ease of travel, I actually saw iShowSpeed's equipment. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and it's just so smallly packed.
Yeah.
That he could move it everywhere.
With full streaming.
Yeah. So
hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, it's just there's so much that you want to do from where we come from that you're unable to do, not because you're not smart, not because you're not intelligent, but because there are a lot of things that works against you. So that for me is one of the things. And then of course the ease of travel. So the Black Stars will play in Toronto against Panama, then play in Boston against England, then play in Philadelphia against Croatia. You're lucky to stay in New York, then you could move around all these three by bus or by rented cars and the rest, and that even still is colossal cost.
Yeah. And who pays for stuff like that?
You understand? So if you're lucky to work for a good organization like Media General, then you could get in, then you have to deal with how many people do you let to travel in there is. So the complexities of that. But in fairness, those elements are not things that is just limited to a media house from sub-Saharan Africa. There will be newspapers in England having this conversation that we're having. How do you find the budget to let your guy cover the World Cup efficiently?
Yeah.
Because if there's one game in New York and another game in Dallas, your flight's involved, or you play one game in Dallas and you have to go to Mexico, or, there's just so much traveling.
Yeah.
In a World Cup in 3 countries, the logistical challenges, the budgetary constraints and all that. It will be tough, but that's the beauty of the World Cup. And the challenge for managers like myself is to constantly find innovative ways of making it worthwhile, which is why we can't keep brooding over how journalism has become so liberalized or how content creation has become so liberalized. Because then it becomes easier for you to find multiple means of using fans, of using journalists and the rest to continue to be able to be relevant in the storytelling space as much as possible.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were afraid for your life? In terms of safety?
In a stadium? Nah.
Anywhere else, even with your travel?
On my travel, once actually.
Wow.
Once. I was at the 2010 World Cup. But it was a rare blot on a really beautiful competition. We had, I think I had traveled with myself, a senior colleague from Zimbabwe, and then Ibrahim Sani. I think we had gone to Rustenburg where the Black Stars, or Sun City where the Black Stars were staying.
Yeah.
And on our way back to this neighborhood called Melville in central Johannesburg. We were stopped by policemen, some in uniform, some plain clothes. And the way they came out with the guns and sort of put us by the wall and body searched us and all that was a bit frightening. But in the end, it was just policemen doing their job. But in the moment when we were stopped and the guns came out and everything and we were put by the walls and everything, it was the following day we tried to lodge a complaint with the police, but it was pointless. But it was one of those things where for a brief 10 to 30 seconds, you were beginning to wonder what's going to happen to me. Because you're a journalist, you've got your bag on you, you've got a bit of money in your pocket, your car is stopped, you know deep down you that you're just a few minutes from your hotel.
Your hotel, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're basically accosted like that, and police search, apparently there had been a robbery and our car matched the identification, but in the end it was nothing edge coming.
Wow. What failure almost broke you, but in the end defined you?
Failure that almost broke me. To be honest with you, I've not had a lot. I've been very, very lucky in this space. But I think it was the first few attempts into management were tough. You know, you start journalism and you're the guy on TV. You are the guy who goes on TV and you're the guy everybody likes. You're the guy everybody sees. You get drifted to the front of queues. People are asking about you and your family casually on an everyday basis. And then you become a manager and you have to inspire people to produce to the level that you do.
Yep.
You discover that no matter how well you do it, and no matter your good intentions, it doesn't always bring out the best in people. And I think even the worst part of it is that then you discover that some of the people that you would go to war for
Yep.
won't lift a finger on your behalf. So it can be tough dealing with that. It can be tough coming to the realization that your good intentions would not always be perceived in the same way. Or that your commitment to excellence, your drive for hard work, your well thought out strategy, your well thought out reasons for the decisions that you make in a purely professional sense could completely be misconstrued as a personal vendetta or an attempt to get revenge against somebody and that sort of thing.
Wow.
And for me, that has been one of those things. It's just the difficulty with converting those leadership goals into results can be a bit damaging. You spend long nights thinking about it. Getting the best out of people can be a lot of work sometimes.
I bet. So when it's all done, when the race is done, the cameras are off, the lights are off, there are no microphones, you're not telling the story. Who are you?
I am a human being who adapts to things pretty well. I am a human being who believes that, that what I do is just like what everybody else does.
Wow.
People do jobs to earn a living. I am one of them. People do jobs to look after their families. I am one of them. Your audience is the people that you serve. So that's why I don't believe journalists are unique. That's why I don't believe you're any special because you appear on TV. The only reason a lot more people know you is because the TV is your office. I always use this example of if I walked into the same bank as I used to say, for instance, the Stanbic Bank Ring Road Central, Ring Road branch. If I went there every week, I would be familiar with everybody who works there. My office, whilst he may be here, could be 7:45 p.m. as it was for many years, maybe like 10 years on TV3 News. which is watched by a lot of people, so they become familiar with me. But that's an extension of my office. When I come off that set, my mentality is that those 5 minutes on that set, or maybe an hour on Talk Sports, does not make me a better human being than anybody else.
Wow.
So I would do everything that I am supposed to do. I don't understand the ego that comes with sports journalism. I don't understand why TV presenters are always the way they are. I think in many ways, sometimes I underestimate the potential opportunities that comes with that much exposure. But I'm just who I want to be. I want to live life happily. I want to go to the nightclub if I want to go to. I will stand in a watch queue if that's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Is it Rocks watching?
Any one of them, it's Rocks, it's Extra O, whether it's at Antimony. I want to live a simplified life.
Yeah.
Because attempting to live like you are special requires special resources.
But you are special though, because when it's sport time, it's what you say carries.
No, but so that is like what I keep saying. If I took my son to the hospital, the pediatric nurse is the most important person there. Or the doctor is the most important person there. If I walked into a bank without the assistance of the consulting officer, I am absolutely nothing. So when people are watching football, I provide a strong connection. And it's a strong connection for a lot of football fans. For instance, when I've done videos about, say, this very disputed subject of would you let players born outside represent Ghana, I've seen people's emotional attachment to the subject. Because it's a subject that goes beyond football. It's a subject that goes at the heart of national identity, national pride, and the rest. When I've done videos on tickets for the World Cup and the sale and how it goes, it's so important to people. But because I understand that the World Cup ticket issue, it's not just about watching football to people. It runs deeper than that, so I can understand. But the moment you're a journalist and you begin to think that your journalism makes you a special human being, that's where you think that nobody challenges your opinion. That's when you think that you know every subject from, as they used to say, archaeology to zoology. You don't. I am just a very useful journalist who understands the Black Stars more than a lot more people do. But even then, I don't even understand the Black Stars more than, say, the kit manager who has been there for 10 years. He understands the implications better than I do. So I think the most important thing is to stay grounded in your space. Look, when it's all said and done, your storytelling is as good as the efficiency of a team.
When it's all said and done, your storytelling is as good as the efficiency of the team.
Yes. So the reason why my journalism has been strong and nice and all is because I came up in a period where the Black Stars were one of the biggest products around. I left journalism school in 1999. From after my diploma, there was a Ghana Under-20 championship that was hosted here. Ghana co-hosted the Nations Cup in 2000. In 2002, I traveled to Mali to cover the Nations Cup for the first time. There was the Under-20 World Cup when Ghana finished second in 2001. Remember that also in my very early teens and around 12 and early teens, this was the period when Ghana was appearing in finals of the Under-20 World Cup, Under-17 World Cup, and the rest. First African country to win a medal at the Olympic football tournament in 1992 and the rest. There were multiple events, not by my making, but by the doing of very talented footballers like Sami Kufu and the rest, that helped to give this country a certain reputation and the rest. It provided the foundation for me becoming a brilliant journalist. Then, the more I worked in covering the team, especially in the mid-2000s, Ghana qualifies for a first World Cup. There were journalists who were way more talented than myself, who didn't have the chance to tell the story of Ghana at the World Cup because the Black Stars didn't qualify for the World Cup. If you were covering Abidipele in 98, the Black Stars didn't qualify for the World Cup. They didn't in 94.
Wow.
So no matter how good you were as a journalist, it was not your time.
It's not your time.
Yes. But there are those who have played the longevity game. Kwabena Yeboah in there, so he's commentating on the 2010 World Cup.
Wow.
He's seen multiple generations of failure, but he saw generations of success. There will be journalists in Senegal now who have been lucky to cover 3 Nations Cup finals.
Because they don't have it.
Yes.
Do you think Ghana is going to win the World Cup?
No, it's not going to happen.
Why not?
I mean, it's nice for motivational vibes to say, oh, we'll win the World Cup and you must believe in everything. You don't have the resources, you don't have the technology, you don't have the attention to detail. It's not going to happen. What you can do is you can show up at the World Cup and be decent. But Ghana will not win the World Cup. It won't happen. I mean, Shidokai will make a lot of money if Ghana won the World Cup, but it's not going to happen. We are not in that position at any point. We are not even in the position based on what happened at the Nations Cup to compete. We couldn't qualify for the Nations Cup. Too many of our players have a disparity in form at club level and national team. That is something that needs to be taken care of. The commitment and the financial investment, but also the human resource investment, the technology investment, which all translates into money. Because these days, football is not just putting a bunch of people on the pitch. It's the video analysis. It's tracking the diets.
AI involved in all of this.
Yeah, it's so much involved that we're just not at that level yet.
I had a guest, Jason Foster. He's actually doing AI in sports. And when we had a conversation, we were talking about what AI is even doing with even predictions of how the players move and how they play. My question to you is, why we know that it's going to bring money, unless you tell me there's no money in it. Why are we not focusing on that?
I think because when you're from this side of the world, a lot of the time there are fundamentals that you're more interested in. Here, people are trying more to get players into clubs and the rest, because the clubs here, the breeding grounds and the rest have a direct need for capital injection. The direct need for capital injection is achieved by convincing a club in Denmark, in Norway, in Sweden, in Switzerland to give you $100,000 for the next big talent that's come. So unless somebody really is driven and passionate, they're not going to be spending their time building the latest technology and how to track the distance that players have. We'd rather go and buy technology that somebody else has built. But that's what good systems do. Good systems allows people to dream, to do things differently. It opens up the realms of possibility to those who want to do things in the system. For instance, we would have thought that in this country, we would have gotten to a stage where payment systems and payment platforms and the rest were more useful to me and you and the rest in the way we shop, the way we save money, the way we top up internet, than walking to a stand and buying physical recharge cards. Or depending on banks solely for the way, or that who would have thought that these days it's very rare for you to walk into a bank for any transaction than used to happen.
I walked into a bank, what was it, last week? And even for them to look at the accounts, they were like, yeah, we don't have access to it. Do it on your phone.
Yeah. Everything has changed. But in the past, we would spend 2 hours queuing for that purpose. But all of this has become possible because there were countless young men and women enabled by the system who have built the structures and the platforms for that.
My question is still, why are we not investing in our football?
Because that's what I'm saying, that we think of football on the surface. For us, football is still the 190 minutes of people playing. But for us, football is also still just at the base level of finding the next guy from Nima, from Bantima, from that base in Sunyani, training them till they are 17, putting them on a plane to Italy, making 100,000 euros from them, and moving on to the next one. Football, our idea of what a sports and a football product is, remains at the base level of finding somebody who can play.
It's not about...
We are not even developing coaches properly. We are not developing video assistant, video technician, video analyst properly. When somebody cannot make it as a football player, you rarely see them go beyond any levels. Even the ex-players, we are not giving them the right training and the rest to become coaches and the rest. Our idea of the football economy seems to sit squarely within the realms of which player can we find to sell to Europe? And at that point, once we achieve that, it looks like we finished doing the job.
So when I was a kid, I got drafted, I guess you can call it that way, to go play on the school team. It was, what was it, a JSS school team. And it was pretty prestigious, like UST primary school, UST JSS school team, like, yay.
Yeah.
I come home super excited. I get to play on the school team, and then I tell my dad, and you already know where this is going. He goes, my friend, go pick your book and go study. Now hearing what you're talking about, was he right?
It depends. Depends on what you've done with yourself. But you also never know because you can't see what didn't happen. But your dad was doing what a lot of fathers would do. Your dad was doing what the stats, the facts, what was evidence before him. Your dad knew that for everyone at that time, I don't know, for everyone, Abedi or Tony Aboa you saw,
Yep.
there were 1,000 failures. There were 1,000 who played football and many others who played football locally, finished playing at, say, age 35, 36, 37, and literally had to live from handouts. Your dad would have seen those who got injured by the time they were 25 and had zero skill, zero talent to feed themselves, to feed their families, and became a burden on their families when they could afford. Your dad would have seen how it's broken many young men. So whilst your dad would have been happy for you to get through that, your dad did what a lot of dads would do for their kids. They guide them through onto the safer option.
The safer option.
The safer and more reliable option. And when I see your Nike shoes in there, you made the right call. So, look, it's a gamble, honestly. It's always a gamble.
Do you think there's a future for us?
Oh, there is. There's many Ghanaian talents who are doing great things. Many Ghanaian football talents who are doing great things. Look, everybody's talking about Antoine Semenyo now. He was rejected by multiple clubs. But again, we speak about systems. He grew up in a system where rejection by 3, 4, 5 clubs didn't mean the end of it. He would still find a club. He went to a lower level club at Bristol City, then he did well and all that. Think of it this way. The equivalent of the Semenyo story is getting rejected by, say, an Elmina Sharks. Then you go to a Hearts of Oak. Or there you go to a Great Olympics. Then you go to a King Faisal and the rest. Then you get your breakthrough at Mediama. Then you emerge at Kotoko. What pack do you charge? Your dad's fear. By the time you get to a certain age, you're not earning that much. His fear.
Before you even get to Kotoko.
Yeah. His failures came in a system where there were enough well-resourced clubs to keep taking him on and to keep trialing him. Yeah? And once he made the breakthrough, so he failed in a system that was equipped to make him, in a system that was well built, but when he made it, he's made it in a system that rewards the kind of persistence and talent to the highest level. If he manages himself well, he's never have to go to think about money again. When you go through the same struggle in Ghana, where do you end up?
Different story.
So you understand? It's really complex, trust me.
So is it talent?
So I see a lot of the stories, and I've heard Calvin Bassett say the same story. I'm not diminishing their struggles and the rest. But the struggles for some guy who is trying to do Royal Tamale United to King Faisal and the rest, you can imagine that. So we talk about systems. That's a clear example of the advantages of a good system.
Wow. Talent versus hard work. Who wins?
I think it's hard work. You've got to show up every day. I think consistency beats anything else in life.
Wow.
But the thing is basic. You need a base level of talent to be good at anything. You understand? You need a good base level of talent. I needed even before I went to journalism school to have had an appetite for telling stories. I should have had a good way with words. I should have had a good understanding of interpreting facts and the rest in a certain way. Then journalism school will hone my skills better, or the training that I have will hone my skills better and everything. And then once I get my opportunity, I show up every day as if my very life depends on it. That's where the hard work comes in. That I wake up every day at 4 a.m. I do my reading. I review the stuff that's gone on the previous night. I have a clear structure of what my day looks like. I sit behind my desk. Or that if I was going to do an interview tomorrow of, say, Stephen Appiah, that I have read through it 2,000,001 times, that I show up at the right time. I show up properly dressed, with my notebook in hand, a clear understanding of what I want from the story.
Wow.
That if I'm going to cover, say, the World Athletics Championships, I have a clear idea of everything that I am doing. That if I'm in an industry, I am reading around it well enough to know that every year this is where the industry is moving. These are the trends that are changing, and to adapt as we go along. So that's all part of hard work. But without the base level of the talent, you are never going to be able to get there. So I often don't think it's just a choice between the two, because I don't even think that you would ever find somebody who is so talented that they didn't put in any amount of work. And what did Malcolm Gladwell tell us? The golden 10,000 rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10,000 rule.
To be good at anything, you should have been practicing for
10,000 hours. Yeah. Wow.
That is you putting in the hard work from that stage. So when you get to that level, you still need a certain element of hard work to be able to stay there. You need a significant amount of good discipline. If you are an actor, for rehearsals, for going through your scripts. If your memory is great, for sticking to it. If I was going to commentate on a football game, part of the hard work is spending the previous night doing my notes. It's having the presence of mind to color code it properly, to be able to pick out the important moments, to have in my mind a certain number of phrases and the rest to remember that a good commentator does not stick to cliches and the rest. It is going to, if I'm going to cover the World Cup in South Africa and I'm doing a report, it is knowing the landmark places to do the report from. If I'm covering Ghana at the next World Cup, it is to know that this year is 20 years since the start of the World Cup, and to build that theme into my story properly and to speak like an authority on the subject. It requires spending hours and hours and hours on your craft.
Wow.
Then when you get to a certain stage, it feels like it comes naturally. But when you get to a stage like myself and you're in your mid-40s, the challenges are different. Creators are taking more of the money than journalists are. Do you want to be in the middle of that space? You want to be. What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do
because
about it?
Your practice of recording things like you recorded for TV 10 years ago will not cut. Would you join the short form video wave? Can you do this thing where people need the first 5 seconds to catch an audience attention and the rest? But this is not how you are trained. You believe in stats because you were told that in journalism, unless you were writing the classic 5 Ws and H, you were told to sort of disguise your opening and build up to the theme and the rest. So there's a lot of... So even the practice of unlearning and relearning the things that you're used to, all sort of changes as time goes on.
What is the big or one of the top misconceptions about communication that, or even storytelling, that people keep on repeating?
One is the idea that the only time you speak good about somebody is because you've paid to, which is quite funny. In the sense that TV presenters have a lot of money. It's just both of them are so far off the mark.
Wow.
Yeah, but we deal with it. And I think the part about people often saying, oh, the only reason you have XYZ opinion is somebody's paid you, is because I think deep down people cannot believe that there are people who genuinely see the good in others. So they assume that the only reason that you will sit behind a microphone and say a good thing about Semenyo is because you have such a wonderful relationship with them. Whereas when you meet them up in a Black Stars camp, it's a quick hello, how are you? It's been a while. Then you walk away.
Walk away.
And people tend to make that mistake often. People also may tend to make the mistake that once you show up on TV, it means you've got a truckload of money coming to you, which is a big lie because your TV industry is pretty much like every industry. It's not the American TV industry where people are paid $1 million per year contracts, but the British newspaper industry where people are writing for newspapers and earning 300,000 or 500,000 pounds a year. This is a completely different one.
Wow.
And whilst I don't deny that the top level of television presenters earn enough to make their life comfortable, there is also the undeniable fact that too many think that they are American A-list, so they live within a certain ridiculous level of means and put too much pressure on themselves. So you must drive a Range Rover, and then you must do this, you must do that. And you know, one of the most ridiculous things I hear people say, "Car with the fatal." But you don't have the means to buy the car that fatal. So you run into debt. It's just the job comes with so much pressure that if you're not a strong-minded human being, it will break you before you break through.
So what keeps you going?
I think two things. Before I had a son, it was just to make sure that when I finish working, I don't go completely broke. I don't know how that is going, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
And now it's to make sure that I earn enough to give my son the best education possible, leave a decent house, just give him the best of everything. Those are the things.
If your son said he wanted to play for the Black Star, what would you tell him?
If he's talented enough, that's fine. But he's 8 years and he's not kicked the ball before, so I know already that he's not getting there. It's not going to happen. So,
wow.
I need to give him the right risk. He needs to take the right risk, though.
So there's taking the risk and taking the right risk.
Yes.
How do you differentiate between the two?
I think there are 3, 4, 5 things. If your son came to tell you that he wants to play basketball whilst he lives in Ghana, he's 14 years, he wants to play basketball, what are the chances of him being discovered by a scout? Going to college in America? Or you want him to go play basketball through the European routes, 3rd, 4th grade clubs, where he would have made the same amount of money he probably would make if you would give him good education and he became a decent banker. Or he became an efficient lawyer. So the options are a lot. For me, that's the level of risk-taking. For instance, would I encourage my son to do journalism?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest.
Wow.
I look at the amount of work required to earn a decent income in this profession. And if my son came to see me to say he wants to be a journalist, with all the benefits of the experience and everything I've had, I will say to him, first, become a lawyer, become an engineer, become that. Find a profession that gives you, that places you above water. And then you can think of the other one, which is journalism.
Wow.
Because I don't think that we've spoken about systems. I don't think that the system here pays journalists enough.
So if you were to go back and you had a chance to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
To start with, I don't think I'll do journalism, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I don't regret it, no, not at all. I'm not going to joke. This is a profession that's taking me to so many countries. Sometimes I lose count.
I bet.
Yeah. I was joking yesterday, the other day after a meeting, that sometimes I don't think I should come off TV because of the benefits I get and the rest. And so I love this profession. But if I had a chance, I would choose the other thing that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to become a lawyer at some point. But the urge to be a journalist was way stronger. And I had a bigger need to start earning money a bit quicker than I got into a certain space with. So I did. But I will become a lawyer and still feed my media passion, because I've discovered that it's actually very easy to do the two.
Wow. There's one guy that's looking at you He sees you on TV. It's like, wow, Martin, he's always on TV. He's talking about this. He's traveling. He's going to all of these countries. He's even going to be in America. He's going to be in all of these places. I want to be like him someday. What'd you tell him?
If he thinks he will make money out of it, not bad. Look, chase what you want to do. But people must be aware of something. Being on TV is not as glamorous as it looks. Yeah? It involves dressing well always. Dressing well always means spending a lot of money. By the nature of money in our system, sometimes it means living above your means. It's a lot of emotional pressure. It's a lot you have to deal with. The competitiveness is on another scale.
Wow.
You know. And it's not easy because your preparation, if you don't prepare well, it will show on TV and everybody will say, Kwame Wabon. Until you can say. He has no clue what he's talking about.
Yep.
So it's no easier than anything else that you would do. One of the things I always tell my journalist colleagues when we're preparing for stuff is I say, do you know any lawyer who goes to a case in court who doesn't read through, doesn't find precedents, doesn't find the things to argue about in court, but shows up in court just to try to argue their case out? No. And yet there are too many people who go into journalism thinking that they can just show up and use words to cover up their lack of capacity and their lack of preparations and the rest. So if you're a guy watching here, you want to do it, it's doable. Don't think you're going to make $1 million tomorrow morning because you join journalism. But if you work hard, it will pay you enough to be able to live a decent life.
He has said it. Make the right choices, take the right risk. Any final words for anyone listening to anybody?
I think in many ways in our side of the world, the mindset is everything, you know. You set out to do something, do it as well as possible.
Wow.
You can think global. You may have been developed locally, but you've got your standards have got to be global. So if you're a journalist training in Ghana, your standard is not with all due respect, it's not the stuff that you hear. You know, your standard is a BBC, it's a CNN, it's writing up to the level of a Time magazine when we're growing up, and that sort of thing. Now, if you think that way, you will discover that you are as good as anybody in the world, and you will be lifted and put in any system, and you will fit in without fail. So for me, always think global, and it's not just with journalism. If you think global, you must have local relevance, of course, because this, you know, if you live in Ghana, this is where you're going to make your money.
Yep.
You must understand the setting, you must understand the culture, you must understand the people. That's your first base of customers and the rest. But if you think global, you understand structures better, you understand standard operating procedures better, you understand how to do things better, you understand trends better, you understand global trends better, because the global trends influences everything else you do. And because you're smart and because you know how to adapt, you adapt it to the local environment. And you realize that every time you're one step ahead of the people that you compete with and work with. So for my money, think global, understand your local terrain better, and understand more than anything else that whatever you choose to do, the learning never stops. If you're an architect, you must study trends. If you are a journalist, you must study trends. If you're a lawyer, you are constantly studying how AI is changing your stream of work.
Yep.
If you are a video editor, every 2 days there's an update on Adobe that you need to become abreast with. Cameras are popping up. The one that you bought last week that you thought was really cool is no longer applicable today. It's not a single profession that allows you to stand still.
Yep.
So,
wow.
Adopt that mindset. Be happy. But the other thing that I've learned from my friends a lot lately is that whatever you do, you are not your profession. So your personal happiness, your personal well-being is more important. You spend time working out, you spend time in the gym, and it's ironic me saying this because the people who work with me will laugh at me, but you've got to be able to shut out of work occasionally and decide that there's a bigger calling for you. It is keeping yourself healthy. It is keeping yourself happy. It is having time for the people who matter to you. And if you find a balance in all this, you will discover that your quality in the work that you do will shine through quite easily.
Guys, this has been the Superhuman Mindset Podcast. Think deeper, live higher. Thanks for coming on the Superhuman Mindset Podcast.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.